19th, 2025 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Creighton, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. We're at number 3 now, approval of the consent agenda, which includes the following: approval of the City Council meeting minutes of May 3rd, that's a special meeting, and May 5th, that was a regular meeting, and May 7th, which is another special meeting. B, approval of bills and claims, of which you have a copy. C, approval of pay estimate number 15 in the amount of $1,916.53 to Henkel Construction for the City Hall renovation and security upgrade project. D, approval of outdoor service area request and special event encroachment agreement with Ellie's for the Clear Lake 4th of July celebration and the Class CLAS car cruise and show and the Harvest Festival. E, license and permits, the following: liquor license, special Class C retail alcohol license, Lucky Wife wine slushies for Thursdays on Main, Lake Theater outdoor service privilege for Thursdays on Main, Class C retail alcohol license, Cancun by the Lake, Class C retail alcohol license, it's K&B Emporium. Excavators license, McPeak Excavating, that's a renewal, and a cigarette permit with Pilot Travel, that's a renewal. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Creighton, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now is the time and place for any citizen in the audience who wishes to speak to any issue or concern that is not on the agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter the minutes. This is not a discussion time nor a question and answer time, and you have 3 to 5 minutes. Not appearing, we'll go on to unfinished business, of which we have none. We'll go directly to new business, which is 6A, appointment of Steve Deers to the position of City Administrator for the City of Clear Lake. Now, I'd like to state a few things prior to going into the motion, and that's the first one. There is a request by the mayor. All of us sitting here have spent a good number of days, hours in this particular process. As a matter of fact, it's been, I believe, close to 5 months. Therefore, as we consider the appointment of Steve Deers as our next city administrator, along with the proposed employment agreement that outlines the terms of his service, keep in mind that we, in that process, I contracted Thea Management Consulting to assist us through those 5 months, and they were very, very helpful in the recruiting part as well as the interviewing part. And we had the final interview process on May 2nd and 3rd, which we included, at least invited, many members of our community to take part in that. You know, as we went through that time and, you know, mentally ourselves discussing that, and I believe we initially started out with 17 candidates. We worked down to, we had a Zoom meeting of, I think there were 6, and then perhaps on that particular day there were 5. And then it came down to the final 3. Steve Deers emerged as the clear choice. He brought with him a strong background in municipal leadership, financial management, and community development. With that, Steve deserves, I believe, the appointment as our new city administrator, and I highly recommend that we approve this employment agreement that goes with. I, for one, and I'm sure all of us who have gone through that process, look forward to formally welcome Steve to this vital role, and he shall begin his duties on Monday, July 7th, 2025. Therefore, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2516, a resolution approving the hiring of City Administrator Steve Deers and approving an employment agreement with him. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Creighton, seconded by Mark, that we approve Resolution 2516. Is there any further discussion? Roll call. Mark,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
Beth Ann,
Yes.
and Bennett.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0, and we now have a new city administrator who will begin his duties, as I just said, on July 7th of 2025. Thank you. 6B, council chambers and entryway HVAC improvements, intro and review a request. Matt Stedding, city engineer. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Hope everybody's having a good week here so far. So, as most of you know, we have had a little bit of trouble with our HVAC system in-house. I know since we've done the remodel, most all of this area was controlled through a hydronic system that went around all of our baseboards. That, with the remodel, was since cut off, and now the only hydronic system that's really left is in this baseboard and this council chambers, as well as out in the lobby entryway. So we've taken a lot offline, and there used to be some in the PD as well. So I got up on the roof. I've done a lot of deciphering of how the systems are actually run here in the building, which was a bit of a rat's nest, but got to the bottom of it. So back in 2013, 2014, the PD actually went underway with a remodel of their own, which separated much of the HVAC system from this part of the building. So currently, right now in our mechanical room, we have 5 air exchangers, and only 2 of which are doing anything. So one controls the chambers and one controls the lobby area. All the other 3 controlled PD areas, which was taken offline during their remodel. So what the proposal was is we still have 2 boilers, and they're putting out a lot of horsepower for what we need them for. But on the back end of things, they're going to be able to control the hydronic system that we currently have, and probably for a lot longer period of time, since they don't have to work as hard as what they used to. So we wanted to continue since we already have those in place. And the scope of the work was going to be to gut our entire mechanical room of all of the air exchangers, furnaces, everything, as well as the 5 condensing units that are currently on the roof, only 2 of which are doing anything. So the other 3 were taken offline when the PD happened and just never removed. So we're looking to clean all of it up. It's going to free up a lot more space in the mechanical room. I don't know how many of you have actually opened the door over there, but good luck getting in there to do any kind of work on anything. So we're cleaning that up, going to clean the electrical up, and then I had them add in hydronic coils that will be on top of the furnaces, and that will at least allow us, it'll have a stage 1 hydronic with a stage 2 gas. So what that allows is us to use our boiler system that we have to be the first source of energy for the heat, and then if anything happens, it'll have a stage 2 with the natural gas that will kick on after the fact. So we'll get to use a lot of the stuff that's already in place in there as far as the boilers go. So what this would all entail is, like I said, removing everything, demoing everything out of the rooftop as well as the mechanical room, redoing all the electrical within the mechanical room. It will go with installing 2 furnaces, 80,000 BTU with a 4-ton, and it's all phase 3 up on the roof, and then it has a 2.5 ton that goes for the lobby area. And then that also includes all the line sets, the hot water coils, the hydronic coils that go into the furnaces, and all of the miscellaneous labor and material that goes into the demo process. So I reached out to multiple companies, had a bit of a difficult time receiving quotes back. Jim and Dudes was very responsive. The reason why I also recommend this is because they're the company that has just got done doing our entire remodel, so they know our system, and it's not an easy system to get in touch with, so they know all the ins and the outs of it, so it just makes a whole lot of sense to go that way. And luckily, they were very responsive and were able to get back. I was originally thinking this was, I was ballparking this over 100 for sure. I mean, I was thinking it was going to creep up into $150,000 range, and that was before I did all the deciphering and figured out that some of those units weren't in play. So it's really came back at a good cost here. They're sourcing 2 different units, a carrier or a train. Those are 2 different alternates. Currently, we have train. I would recommend that we go back with the train just because they're very readily accessible. They're in the area, so if anything happens, we're able to get parts and pieces for those. And then we have a mixing box, which that is an additional, so that's an additional $9,000. That's an alternate. So what that is basically you have fresh air that comes in from the outside into the inside. There's certain times when it gets stuffier, or if you have any issues during the summer with humidity levels, you can open and close those dampers. So this system would do it electronically. I think a lot of the issues that we've had in there have been caused because we tried to automate the system too much for what it was actually for. Sometimes you can overcomplicate something that should just remain simple. And it would be my recommendation that we don't go with that alternate for the 9,000, simply because we're going to be dealing with a very simple manual fresh air intake that anybody can learn it. You go in, you open it, you close it depending on weather conditions, and you're really not going to need to use it a lot. It's just in certain circumstances when you want to get some more fresh air moving through the building. But for the money, I think it's always something that can be added down the road. It's not something that needs to get installed right now. So I'm more than confident just going with the manual approach personally. But so that would be my recommendation. And then also the electrical is $4,400. So that's on top. Like I said, I would recommend the train for $61,550. And then also the electrical, Quantum Electric doing the electrical for $4,400. Those would be my recommendations moving forward. And if you guys have any questions at all, I'd be more than happy to answer here.
Thank you, excuse me, thank you for doing all this research and explanation, Matt, a lot, because it's got to be a rat's nest
Yeah,
to go through. So thank you for deciphering all that for us. I appreciate that.
absolutely.
Is this the first time that's really been done in this amount of detail since the building was built, and I believe 65 it was complete?
I have to believe when they did the PD portion that it was gone through in fairly thorough detail at that time. It's just, nothing was really kept up with at that point. And I think that, it just becomes a scenario where there was a project that was used to get everything separated, so the PD was by itself and the council chambers and city hall was by itself, so things functioned better. And at the time, I don't think that the money was probably there, wanted to spend the money to remove it when it wasn't really necessary at that time. So I think now is we're at a really good point where I think it's just time to clean everything up and get things back situated.
Well, that gentleman who was working on it when he brought that filter down,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was covered with dust, the filter. I
Yeah.
mean, it was
Yeah.
unbelievable. That had to be there, that whole,
Yeah.
so what, 60 years? Wouldn't it be? Yeah, 60 years then.
The filter that he brought down was from 2014, probably roughly, but
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
it was
that's not
that
quite-
was with the remodel portion.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Anyway.
But nevertheless, 10 years, it wasn't good.
at least since I've been around, you know, either the police department is cold or we're cold and the other section is hot, you know, I mean, there was no way that you could really.
Yeah. We're hoping to
It went
correct
to
all that.
extremes, yeah. So we're talking in money now, what, 65,550, 65,550 with eliminating that.
65,950.
950.
Yeah.
Say that again?
65,950.
Not, oh, yeah, right.
Yep. With the 61,550 plus
Called
the
addition,
44.
grab that, two together. All right, $65,950, and we are looking at that, we're looking at a motion then to approve the quote from Jim and Dudes Plumbing and Heating and Air Conditioning at $65,950. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mark, that we approve the quote from Jim and Dudes Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning for the entryway and council chamber HVAC improvements. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Boy, that's a good deal. Surf District Streetscape Improvement Project Update Review of Change Order number 10 and number 11 by Matt Stedding.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Yeah, got a couple change orders here, just gonna be pretty brief. I know, walked through a lot of this with, different members of the council, and I think everybody is pretty much on the same page with what we have going on down there. It's been a great project, and we're just trying to push this through here to the finish line. I've met with several of the local businesses down in the area, and I've kind of got their take on a few things, and they're generally very happy overall, and we got a couple tweaks that we want to get corrected down there, so that's what these change orders are dealing with. A few of them are adding some rock in behind the sidewalk, or in between the sidewalk and the back of curb areas, as well as fixing up a few of the rain garden areas and the permeable paver crosswalks. So we are gonna try to get underway here and get these things pushed forward and push us towards the end of the finish line. And as far as update on the project, like I said, we're getting ready here to kick off for the season and really get construction underway. We have a lot of plantings to finish from 7th all the way up to the Gateway Arch. We're hoping that the Gateway Arch is going to be completed here sometime towards the end of summer, and we'll get that set. And then we have a plaza area to finish up by the railroad tracks, as well as some planting bed areas over on city and the Lovell property. So we have a lot of stuff here to get wrapped up, but I think we're gonna hopefully finish with this strong, and we'll have a really good product after we get completed. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. Otherwise, yeah, meet me down there anytime you want, and we can walk through things.
Yeah. You can meet him there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you want, because that's when he's there.
Yeah, once again, Matt, thank you so much, because had to be in the loop.
Yep.
You know, not
Of
totally
course.
with you all the time on this, but really am thankful that you were able to get this taken care of, especially the deal with the pavers. I know that has been a real kind
Yeah.
of monkey wrench mess for us for a while, so appreciate that.
Yep, of course.
The bump outs still have black marks on them, but they're looking better as we move along.
They look good. That
Page-
happens.
page
That happens to every brand new curb. That's gonna happen whether there's bump outs or if it was a normal curb.
Yeah, yeah, somebody's gonna run over a building if it was there. Any further questions? All right, I entertain a motion to approve change orders number 10 and 11, the amount of $39,405 with regard to the Surf District Streetscape Improvement Project. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dan, seconded by Mark, that we approve change order number 10 and 11. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Chief report, Jeremy. Lieutenant Jeremy, welcome. You attended the prom, I see. Good for
Yes,
you.
I did.
That was a great picture, yeah.
Good evening. First off, you guys have any questions about that monthly report that I was front page on?
Hey, you were, yeah.
Not a whole lot to discuss. We are all set for the Tri coming this weekend. Everything's been planned. Everything's set. the chief and the captain have that pretty squared away and are pretty good at getting all these events squared away for us, so we know exactly what to do. So we are all ready to go for that and excited to see what that brings. Hopefully there's no rain and a little bit warmer than it is today, but we'll go from there. We're also excited to announce that our new dispatcher, Amber Nearing, just started employment last week, and she's just started her training, so she's doing well there, which brings us back to full staff, which is always exciting for us. So that's really all that we have, not a whole lot to talk about. You guys have any questions at all for me?
Any questions for the lieutenant? That news brief that we get each time, I find that very interesting, and I think, you know, more of the public needs to see that, because it's hard to believe that all that is going on in this small town of 7,600 people, but lots of stuff, really.
It's kind of amazing once we start adding our pieces from each shift to see how much stuff
Yeah.
actually goes on. So
Yeah,
for all of you to see that too. So.
yeah, and to your guys' credit for keeping that community sane, really, throughout all of that. So we thank you, and good to hear that try is going to get off, because that's going to be wonderful this year. So any further questions? Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Public Work Director's report. Matt Stedding, welcome again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Just real quick here, so this is pertaining to some asphalt improvements out at the Public Works building. How this kind of started was once we transitioned and started to have the large item pickup out at the Public Works facility, Jeremy started to notice and then brought it to my attention that there was a lot of dust going on out there with all of the vehicles turning and all of the big trucks moving around out there. So there's a decent sized area which is all currently gravel, and we started to discuss, well, he thought it'd be a really good idea if we're gonna continue, if large item works out, and it has worked out very well, if that continued, then we were gonna look at trying to get some paving put down out in this area just to make everything a lot more comfortable for everybody doing the work out there. So we went ahead and got some proposals put together, which we brought through the budgeting for fiscal year 26. So this would occur after July 1. And yeah, it comes out, Heartland Asphalt updated the proposal, and it come to $55,398.50. And like I said, this was something that we have budgeted for, so it's not anything that's gonna need an amended, any budget or anything like that, so we should be good. And yeah, it's pretty simple process, just filling in the gravel area out there. So if you guys have any questions.
I think this is another good addition, you know. I think, Beth Ann, you can remember this, but you go back to dear Ben Furley. He was the first one to recommend that we even put a small amount of asphalt in there from the gate into where the leaves and so on are thrown now, because people were coming in there and just making it, you know, a dirt mud race or whatever you want to call it. It was a mess. And so we got it to that far, then we got another piece in, and now we got a third piece. So that's well used and a great service for our citizens. So I think this is well worth it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Any further questions, council? Okay. We therefore have to approve the proposal from Heartland Asphalt for paving a public works yard waste site in the amount of $55,398.50. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Creighton, that we approve the Heartland Asphalt paving of public works yard waste site. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. Any further reports? Matt, city engineer?
As far as projects, you know, we got the big apartment complex that is finishing up here, going through all the necessary testing to get across the finish line. We're hoping to get up and going here first part of June, so that's gonna be great to see that off the ground and running. And then, yeah, we got, you know, the dam development is going strong right now, so that's plugging away. South Shore Estates is still rolling. We got the big Highland Drive project that's gonna be coming up. We'll have a lot of conversations about that here in the near future. And then, of course, the surf district, so we got a lot of stuff in the hopper, and there's a lot more smaller ones going on as well, but I'll keep you guys updated as things progress forward.
All you need to do is go in Matt's office and look at his whiteboard, and it's a huge whiteboard, and there isn't any space left on there for him to write anything in, so.
Probably should have given you a whole wall whiteboard. That would have been nice.
A blackboard. Okay, under mayor's report, I just got a couple of things. And Jennifer Larson is on the General Tri-Committee, and that comes up this weekend, and she's been working very hard and has been for a great number of years on that, but she told me this evening that we have how many registered?
It's over 500.
Over 500, and that's from the young people right on up through adults. And this year, there are, what did she say, 12 pros, I believe. Stacy Dawn, who really has kind of brought this to our community. How many years ago now? Were we 5, 6?
I think this is year 9, maybe?
I think so.
9, whoa, sneaks up on you. But anyway, huge project, and with that many people in town, that's why the lieutenant said that, you know, we're well covered as far as the traffic, and we work with the county on that, and we work with tons of volunteers. And if you haven't volunteered yet, speaking with the public out there, please get in contact with the chamber office, and that's ready to roll this weekend. So water temperature will be a little chilly. I won't say how chilly it will be. We were talking about that sooner, and everyone will be awakened as soon as they hit that water. Let's put it that way. But it's a great, great event. And we also have this weekend, Beth Ann, which is Memorial Day, am I correct? And I always think of that around the 30th, but this year is the 24th, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah,
Somewhere in
that's
there.
correct. Yeah.
Somewhere in there, but, you know, that always starts out down by the lake with the high school band and the fire department. They're the ones that, and the Navy throws the wreath in, and there's a small ceremony down there. This is traditional Clear Lake now. It goes back far, far beyond me, and it's really quite an event to have there. And then they extend it out to City Park, I say by old Abe there, Abe Lincoln statue to the south of Abe, and a wonderful ceremony to our veterans. If you can get to that, public, please do. I don't know the times on that.
I say, I've already submitted the article from the Memorial Day Committee to the Mirror Reporter, and Jenna has that all set up to be printed this week.
All right.
So it'll be out there for the people to read about. And we
Sweet.
could probably get something on the webpage too. I'll send some stuff to you as well.
But it's 9:30.
It's 9:30,
It
thank
starts
you.
at 9:30 at the seawall.
At the
Seawall.
seawall,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, and therefore by the Mirror Reporter tomorrow, right? Here we go. City Administrators report, Jacob, the trip to Washington DC, and Creighton was along on that too, and
Yeah,
he budged in out there, I heard it.
yeah, Creighton joined us part of the way through the trip out there. So last week, there was a delegation of us from North Iowa here that went out to Washington DC. We met with Hinson, Ernst office, and then Grassley, and then also met with some of the departments out there. So we met with the DOT and the USDA and a couple of other organizations out there. And there was a group of us of 18 from North Iowa here, including Creighton and Dana from the council here. And just overall, really good meetings, good opportunity to spend time together with our colleagues here in North Iowa, and then also get in front of the faces of just Grassley, Ernst, and Hinson, and meet with those different departments. And I will say, I have seen benefit out of it already. We had a question kind of hanging out there on our 4th Avenue grant. We had done an amendment back in March, and there was a delay on that, and we hadn't got a lot of feedback on why the delay was and what it meant for the grant. And met some people out there when we met with the DOT, and I got an answer on it this morning. So there definitely is benefit from the trip, and I'm just already seeing that. So just really enjoyed the trip and glad to have the opportunity to do it. The other thing I had to talk about tonight then was a memorandum of understanding with the North Iowa Cultural Center and Museum for the Music Experience Center. As you guys are well aware, we've been working through the process out there of getting that constructed. We're getting near having occupancy granted. Hopefully that'll come within the next couple weeks here. And as soon as occupancy is granted, we want to allow that group to start using the center and operating the center. We still have a little ways to go on some of the immersive stuff, but some of the spaces will be ready for use. And so as you guys are aware, we're still working out the terms of a full long-term lease with them. But by doing a memorandum of understanding, they'll be able to start using the building right away as we finalize those lease terms. So tonight, just looking for you guys to authorize me to negotiate that memorandum, and then the mayor to execute it once we have it done.
Any questions before I ask for a motion to authorize?
Well, I'm very pleased that we've got the opportunity for this memorandum to go through. Being part of the committee, like, Creighton and Mark, it's been a change process, and at the last couple meetings we've had with Trivium, they've talked about making adjustments to get this fixed better here, this fixed better here, but we can't open this quite as fast as they want. So this will give us a chance to sit down and look how that operates and work with Brian in terms of how's this going to fit and what do you really need right away. So
Right.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any comments, questions? Therefore, I entertain a motion to authorize Jacob to do the memorandum of understanding with the North Iowa Cultural Center and Museum for the Music Experience Center. Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mark, that we approve the memorandum MOU with the North Iowa Cultural Center Museum for Music Experience Center. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. Is there anything else, council, for this evening? None appearing, meeting adjourned. Thank you all for attending.